All right, sorry I missed the upload yesterday. I'm pretty tired, but I'm making up for it today. So this is for day 17, is day 18, but it's for day 17. Kicking us off, we have Man Alive by King Cruel, or possibly King K. Rule, submitted by Hunter. This was a fucking great album. Drugged out, spacey, melancholy, reflective indie rock. And I love it. Super, super up my alley in all aspects. His voice is really, really striking and I think great. The choice of instruments and how they are composed and produced, also phenomenal. And it all just comes together into this really, really pristine product. Never forcing your attention, but always inviting it, always welcoming your attention. And I really liked that. I really, really loved this album. I loved the sound. I loved the feeling of it. I loved the songwriting of it and the performance of it. Just a really fucking good album all the way through. You know, I wouldn't have minded some more energy kind of sprinkled throughout there. There were moments, but I feel like you could have had a few more moments like that. But all in all, I don't have any severe complaints with it either. I think it was just really fucking solid. I'm almost certainly going to check out his other works because of how much I liked this album. So, great pick, great album. Man Alive, giving it a 9. Next up, we have Vacation Wasteland by Slime Girls, and you don't hear a lot of chiptune. And this was a really interesting use of chiptune, I thought, because chiptune is usually kind of standalone. It's, a nostalgic sort of genre, but mixing it with this kind of indie or garage even rock, I think was a nice touch. I thought it was a really interesting concept, and I think it was executed well. Now, that being said, chiptune is a bit gimmicky, and there's certainly stuff to love about it. There's certainly redeeming factors, but you have to admit that it is a really specific and quite overbearing stylistic choice. But that doesn't make the album bad. It just means that, I'll put it this way. If you took the chiptune away and you replaced it with something more traditional, like synths, bass, that kind of stuff, no way this album would stand out as much as it does. So I think it was a great choice. But chiptune on its own can get a little grating over time. But I felt like they were good about it. It didn't get stale. It just kind of, after the first few songs, it loses its luster a little bit. But with all that in mind, I thought it was a really interesting experiment, really interesting idea, and it was executed well. Just don't know about, I guess, the long-term sustainability of that stylistic choice. But to each their own. So Vacation Wasteland, I think, is a very respectable 7. Then we have Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92 by Aphex Twin, submitted by Brendan. And what can I say that hasn't already been said about this album? It's phenomenal. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's maybe Aphex Twin's best work. I don't know. I might contradict myself when I look back through how I rated the other projects we've listened to from him. But just truly, front to back, amazing, unique, beautifully produced, intriguing, engaging, just a great ride. Whole way through a great ride. I feel like this is one of the few albums where you could pretty confidently call any track off of it your favorite, and it's not like a controversy. I think each track has such a unique personality and individuality to it that they all really stand on their own. My personal favorite is Green Calcs. And the nature of Aphex Twin's work means I have a really hard time articulating why that one's my favorite. It just is. And there's plenty of other tracks off the album that are also fantastic. I mean, I feel like Extal might be the most basic pick for your favorite, but Extal's a great song. They're all great songs, and they're put together in a great way. The only thing this album, I think, really lacks is cohesion, but realistically, it doesn't need to have it. All the songs are good enough. The production is good enough. It's interesting enough that you never get bored. You never get tired. This is something you can re-listen to over and over and over again and still get something new out of. It's brilliant. But all that being said, it is not my favorite piece of electronic music. It certainly cracks top 10, I would say, but I don't know if it cracks top 5. It's just, while I do really love Aphex Twin's style, it doesn't hit me in the soul the way some other electronic projects I've heard do. So, with all that in mind, absolutely nothing but reverence for Selected Ambient Works, especially, Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92. The second one is a different story. I also love it, but it's not as good as the first one. Reverence and respect to this album. But at the end of the day, I do think I have to stick with a 9 rather than a 9.5 or a 10. There's just... It tickles my ears and it tickles my brain, but my heart yearns for something else. Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92 is a 9. Then moving on to yesterday's album, Odds and Ends by Altitude from Dom. I'd heard some tracks off of this because Dom and I, way before Music Club, we had a little shared playlist that we would game to. And what can you say? It's a very lovely bit of chill music, you know? Good relaxing, great lo-fi, just really low-key, nice to have in the background music. And it may sound slanderous, this is background music. I listened to it actively this time around, and I found it a little difficult to listen to it actively. It really, really wants to not be the focus. It really, really wants to be... Ambient isn't the right word, because that's a whole other genre, and this is not ambient. But it really wants to be separate. It really wants to be behind you. And that's fine. And it's really well composed for that. I think intentionally so. Almost certainly intentionally so. And yet, I think that limits it. So, Odds and Ends, fantastic at what it does. But I think that what it was going for just makes it so that it's not memorable enough to score super duper high. Still a lovely, great listen though. So Odds and Ends, I'm giving a 7.5. And I'll see you right now because I'm going to record the second video.